Hello, everyone. Today we have artist Michele Giorgi, and if you want fun stories about art creation, including the story behind his terrifying rendition of Crib Swap, or how blood can be gory as long as that blood is jelly, then this interview will be your jam. Okay, so thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's awesome to be here.
So we're gonna dive right into there wasn't a lot of information online, so I had to go to your website, and we're gonna talk about Labyrinth as being an inspiration for you. So
Yes.
how old were you when you saw Labyrinth?
Gee, I can't remember. I think I was small, like maybe 8 or 10 years old.
See, that's crazy because I didn't actually see Labyrinth until I was in college, and
Okay.
all I could notice was David Bowie's pants were very tight, and I was like, "This is a bit." I kind of was like, "Wow, he made an interesting aesthetic choice there." Just like dancing
Yeah.
around in that, really not really being shy, but um, so Labyrinth was a main inspiration. So was that your gateway into that was your gateway into the horror fantasy? So then, around what age did you discover that you had a propensity for art, for drawing,
Well,
or
I've
painting?
always been drawing when I was small, age 6, maybe 4 or 5. I have drawings around that my parents keep, and I always love to draw monsters and creatures,
Hmm.
basically. And I don't know the inspiration for those before the age of 8 or 6, 9. I don't know. Maybe creature cartoons. I don't know. But I always been drawing. I think with my dad used to draw with me, so maybe that's where it
Oh, really?
started. And
Now, was your
yeah, it
father
was
a
kind of.
fan of
I
horror?
remember calling.
Was your father like a
I'm
fan of
sorry,
horror or
I didn't get
fantasy?
that.
Was your father a fan
Well,
of
yes, my
horror
father was.
or
Yes,
is?
a fan was a fan of horror movies and art and comics. So yeah, I think I saw Labyrinth because he was interested in Labyrinth. I saw Alien with him and
How old were you? Because I see a
other horror
xenomorph
movie.
in the background. I
Yes,
see a
it's right
xenomorph.
back there. So my first gateway into the world of comic and fantasy and horror in general was from my dad. And
And
comic books. He used to love comic books and all sorts of things. But horror mostly, then fantasy. That was the segue that comes. I think for my passion for fantasy came from cartoons and films, as you said, Labyrinth, for example.
what would you say as you got older were some other influences that really hit you home that maybe you discovered as a teenager or as a young adult that formed what
Well,
would become your art style?
yes. I think I came across some art books, some Boris Vallejo, I think, and then I study a bit with Lucio Parrillo, which is a
Okay.
famous artist. He was one of my teachers when I attended the School of International School of Comics. It's a school in Italy that has broad set of classes. One of these classes was illustration, and I wasn't interested in any of those classes because one was scientific illustration, another was watercolors for historic books, and then was fantasy art. And it was Lucio Parrillo who attended this class, and it was acrylic, and he was working for Magic. And so I
Yeah.
thought, oh, see, maybe that's something I can go for it because I was kind of a bit depressed, and because I couldn't find my way during art school, uh, and there was nothing that inspired me or that used. I wasn't good at other things,
Hmm.
and fantasy art is something that, for some reason, resonated. It's more. I'm more happy painting fantasy and horror fantasy. During
That
the
makes sense.
teenage years, yeah, go on, go on.
Oh no,
It's
no,
okay.
I was you go on. Go on with the teenage years you were saying.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, during my teenage years, I see. I think I saw uh, horror movies, Labyrinth, as you said. Apart from those, I don't have any specific names or movies that I remember, frankly. But I was mostly towards that kind of expression, and something that I loved the most was those kind of subjects. And my, I think I started to acknowledge and search for those kind of things later during my 20s, and to understand what I was liking, what my influences could have been. But I've never taken into account specific sources.
Right, because I looked at, for instance, like one of your more recent pieces, Voidpouncer, which is a
Mm.
truly like disturbing Eldrazi. But I can't help but see, because I think a lot of art comes from lineage, and I see the Faith Hugger inspiration from H.R. Geiger in there. Am I off on that one?
It could be. Honestly, um, I was trying to follow the concept art and the lines that the wizard gave us to paint an Eldrazi creature, and it was a lot of chaos. And I was trying to interpret this creature and the pouncing motion of the creature
Hmm.
without being too close to um, actual animals that lives, because it was difficult part was pouncing, the motion of the pouncing towards, and the anatomy of it. It was kind of a nuts and crazy. um I honestly went with these in mind, and I don't know if Geiger was an inspiration for it.
Okay. There's just it's I mean, but what I do get from it, I mean, I guess if it were to attack me, I see it pouncing and sort of sucking you up,
Oh, right.
like it's sort of just going like and swallowing you whole, and
Yeah.
it's definitely it's got that classic Eldrazi feel to it. But you haven't really seen a design like that before, and that one stood out. I remember when I was opening packs, and I was like, "Ugh, God,
Thanks.
that's an Eldrazi right there." It's
Thanks.
so, and then what's also I mean, what I think is really interesting about your work is the way that you frame your pieces. There is I don't know if fisheye lens is like the best way to describe it, but you always are able to put your characters front and center, and sort of make them as though the camera were, like they're very much like popping out. When did you like is that something that's taught in art school, or is that something that you figured out on your own? Because I've seen a
Mm,
couple of other artists who utilize that, but it's not necessarily a very commonly used like effect. I think like let's say the popular and kind of like a, a marquee magic artists use that style, which I'm sure one day you're going to be marqueeing. Uh,
wow.
I think I predict this, and I'm never wrong about these things, by the way. So,
Okay.
but I wonder, where do you get that kind of um, camera inspiration? Do you go out, like, are you good with photography? Do you practice with like cameras to get that? It's blows my mind.
Honestly, no. Um, I try to understand the card assignment, the mood of the card, and usually they give me art that is very dynamic. um, I also received some feedback talking to our director that it's what they liked about my work. It's very dynamic and in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I honestly don't do that on purpose. I try to, for me, let me see if I can explain how I think about this.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when we're painting a scene or a picture on a creature, it's like I imagine like being the scene being in slow motion of something that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's a window. It's like you open a portal and you can stick your face in and see what's happening. And
Okay. Yeah.
and so you can slow things for a moment, but they're in motion. It's like they. I like to to think that I can see the movement, the next movement of a painting or something that's happening, a creature. So, like, if I paint something, a creature, I look at it. It's like I want to understand, and I could see the next movement of the creature.
Yes.
What? So it's like he's in motion. It's basically in motion.
Yes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Looking at your stuff now, I can definitely see, like, for instance, like when looking at, say, the crypt sliver, the,
Right.
the I can definitely see that if I'm popping my head through the vortex, it seems like the crypt sliver just saw me popping my head through and is like, what the hell is this? And I'm gonna eat this. And it's terrifying. But then with Crib Swap, which I mean, I didn't think that there was going to be like another version of Crib Swap that was going to be just as like horrifying as the original. But oh my goodness, that's
Yeah.
that is how do okay is that is that someone's baby or do you just create the baby out of the ether or do you base it off
No,
of a
no,
real
no.
baby?
It's my son. They're
Oh,
both.
that's great. It's like you have full access to the baby. Wow, what a beautiful
Yeah.
boy. And then
They're,
so do you have to do like a little like changeling version of your son, I guess, right?
yeah. Basically, I searched for photos of my son where I was bathing him. We are doing the bath
Yeah,
thing, and the same. And then it was kind of doing goofy stuff on the bed, and
right.
just use those as reference. The one that I'm pulling out is just out of the bathwater, but it was
Right.
still little, so it was a bit of, taking a bath was still a big deal. So it's just,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You have like the half
and
an
when it
inch
was,
water and you're like, I hope I don't kill him. Okay.
and when he was laid down and smiling, he was playing. We were playing, and he has this goofy smile, but the eyes are obviously not on my son's
Yeah,
eyes.
that'd be very Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah,
If that was
but I had a lot of fun. I love those kind of paintings, and it reminds me of a scene in Labyrinth where um, Sarah needs to is the goblins are waiting for Sarah to say the words and take the bed, and they're all under the bed hiding,
yeah,
and we have this frame with this hundred of faces with their eye blinking open. So
and it's just yeah,
it's a fun
very
moment, but it's also so you see, it's fun, it's creepy, and it's weird, and it's all together, and that's basically what I love the most. But I'm happy that these people have found it really creepy.
oh gosh, I mean, it's because I mean, it's because the other baby is again looking like the way you put it, and it makes so much sense. I mean, that you do it as that vortex because it's like you're peeking in on this moment as it's happening. You're a fly on the wall, and but the baby is like it's breaking the fourth wall. It's staring right at you and being like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, this is happening." Like, and then the human
yeah,
baby is so lovingly looking at this, you know, at this monster that's snatching it. The way that human babies are so trusting and helpless. It's terrifying because it's like the
yeah.
demon baby
It
knows
is.
what's going on, and the little human baby is like,
Exactly. Yeah, because the changeling is looking through the viewer, so he has knowledge, is aware of what's going on, and the other, as you said, is more defenseless, and
now
that's what.
And so do you okay, for like for instance, like unassuming sage. Okay. I love that one because I like the implication of the card name is that this sage is walking into, something that's going to end them. But was the decision to make her look so like she looks so cocksure? She looks like she knows exactly what she's doing. She's shushing the audience again, breaking that fourth wall, which I think now that that's what I love is the ability to break the fourth wall, but without it doesn't interrupt the artwork. It makes
Right.
you a character. It makes you the planeswalker that you're supposed to be. Um, so was that in the art direction to make her so like aware? Like it feels like she knows exactly what she's doing, and clearly the card is saying she doesn't know what she's doing. She's walking into a tomb. She's unassuming, and yet the she looks very sure in the photo. Was that art direction, or was that you making a creative choice?
Well, I believe that if I remember correctly, there was this figure who was wearing rags, but underneath there was precious item and clothing, and the she was supposed to have a look that mm, like she knows something. She's more aware of something than people, and so the look on her face, I think should have been sage, smart, some kind of she knows something that you don't know, that we don't know, and she's basically leading the viewer with her staff towards a dark path that
Right.
maybe is something that is dangerous, and she's going, maybe we believe that she's going towards certain death, but she's telling us that maybe there's not what it looks like.
Maybe we're the unassuming sage.
Maybe yes. So
That's
she
great.
knows more than we do, and she basically is trying to show the with the staff the direction that we're supposed to be going to. And
Hmm.
the light of the staff is what I was thinking of hope, because she has the light and therefore the way to cross this dark path. So
It's such a
basically, it's a
fascinating
figure.
piece. It's really fascinating because now that I mean, hearing you, which I really appreciate the fact that you have that you're not shy about telling the stories that you have behind it, because a lot of other artists are very demure about it. Like they're like, I don't want to tell you because then it's going to affect it. But from my point of view, my belief is that when I hear the stories, it just expands my
Right,
interpretation. Because I had one about her, and you told me yours, and now I have like 13 going off in my head. Like,
right.
because I could be the unassuming sage, or the audience could be the unassuming sage. She could be actually helping you, or she could be taking you in there and gonna kill the shit out of you. Like, just you can't be sure.
Yeah, you don't know.
Is she?
Yeah.
And I wonder. I'm curious. Is she based off of anybody you know? I mean, do you base them off of people that you know, or do you pull them from the ether?
No, they asked me to. I'm sorry if I don't remember correctly.
No, no.
She wasn't. They asked me to portray a person. She, a she, and she wasn't supposed to be Caucasian. So for
Okay.
Eastern Asia, I'm sorry if I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah.
And no, the face is the. I searched for some reference, and I was searching for a very charismatic look. The eye supposed to communicate something. It's like a person that has experience. She
Hmm.
knows more than we do, and also she at first her appearance is not of a major a person that has a status, because she has rags on, but
Right.
the side that is towards us, we can see that he has precious items. She has other clothing, but because she decided to show us what she really are. But on the back, if you were looking behind her, she has only rags, and her truth is just for us to see. So she's trying to
That's
communicate with
great.
us. She's revealing to ourselves, to us. basically.
Now that's fantastic. That's some storytelling. So I mean, I think that I love that. I love that you have put that kind of thought into it, and it's such a fast. I'm now I want to like. Because now I just like want to go through every one of your pieces and be like, "What's the story behind this?" Because
I
it's
need to come up with something because to keep the
oh,
passion and to have your ideas of what's going on. And I try to invent some stories, but I need to keep my focus on the card, of course, and the use of the card, meaning that the art director gave me to follow. But I also need to find fun and entertainment to myself. Oh,
right. Now, I'd imagine I was you. So you were doing Pathfinder, your Pathfinder character illustrations. Um, I'm wondering, was that part of like, was that how was that different than say illustrating for like Magic when you get to do these completely like highlighted characters where the front and center you get to do? Is there more like structure to it, or is there more freedom? How does it differ from say a Magic assignment when you do a
okay.
Pathfinder character?
Pathfinder was a bit few years ago
Hmm.
when I had a lot of fun painting characters. Um, because honestly, it's easier because you don't have backgrounds and sometimes you don't have to worry about background lightings and stuff, which is kind of kindly. I'm sorry, kind of my Achilles heel because background and environmental lights are tough. And
Really?
yeah, for me, but maybe that's the
I
reason
guess the
why.
final product, I can't tell that it's difficult. I mean, maybe the process
You
of
know,
getting there is difficult, but
well, the easiest part is the creature. So when I get the creature or characters, that's the easy part because I don't know why, but with creature and I it come out really easy and natural. Not so easy, but fun and easier than backgrounds and lights. And so I tend to work on the character first and
okay.
establish the thing that I want to communicate with the pose, movement. And when I got that, I can go back to the background to tweak stuff.
Okay.
But as
That's
for
interesting.
your yes, as for your question, yes, I started with Pathfinder and with characters, and I don't think so much. Well, there's less dynamic movement in characters, not so much, but sometimes the characters must be really visible, and the acting of a character can go as far as a figure without no environment to interact because usually it's one character. Um, I had fun with monsters and creatures. I remember a pit fiend that I enjoyed to paint. Um, yeah, I bet it's fun. It's a lot of fun with magic because you have a story to tell.
Hmm.
And Pathfinder was a nice and lovely step. But I remember I had a lot of fun with characters, and they gave me also a lot of poetry because they told me they liked how I use the brush strokes because it's kind of a painterly style.
Painterly, yeah, absolutely.
And after Pathfinder, I did a lot of Starfinder as well. And they gave me a lot of Starfinder because they had much of creature and monsters, and the weirder, the funnier for me. So it's really entertaining when they gave some uh, some non-human creature to paint, or
Right.
human, or something that goes near the humanity but has other things going on. You know.
Right. Right. Um, One of the things too is that I will like again the like hollow scavenger, for instance. Like I find this very cool because you didn't see for a little while in Magic, especially for me with Crimson Vow. Like I was disappointed by the lack of blood. Like there's, I mean, I understand that we're at a wedding ceremony, but there was not a lot of blood. There's a lot of blood roses or blood petals, which for me, it made me crazy because I was like, why are there flowers? But that's my thing. So, but because I still don't get it. I still don't get it. And I'm sorry, wizards. I really am. But please explain to me how the flowers turn to blood on the floor. I understand, you want to make it PG-13, but also, huh? So there's but Hollow Scavenger, there's blood, and that's in the Throne of Eldraine. So I wonder, like, I'm hoping, thinking maybe they heard my cries of despair with the blood petals. When you got that assignment, did they tell you that you could be that, like, that
Hollow
gory?
Scavenger is the wolf, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because
And you got
see,
a gory. I mean, I'm
that's
assuming
gory,
you
but
are.
technically, they told me it's not technically blood.
Oh, it
It's
isn't.
it's jam
Ah, there's
from
jam
the
on the
cookie
heart.
world. Because in this piece, this wolf is devouring a cookie monster creature.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically, the innards, that the stuff, the thing that seems blood, is actually caramel, whatever you want to be, inside of a
Right.
cookie or a cream. So technically, it of course, I search for wolf, and when they grin and have their snout or full of blood, I search wolf gnashing on the bones, but of course, as a candy. So even if
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gory,
because like it is
it was fun.
purplish looking. It's a purplish bread, but it's better than it's better than a blood petal. Let's just I think maybe I would be can you imagine the wolf with like petals of flowers coming out of its mouth, and you'd be like, "Huh, that's an interesting choice." I'll never get over it. I was traumatized by it. I was like,
Yeah.
"Crimson Vow?" Um, but yes, and you have said nothing about it. There's no comment on your behalf, so it's all me. But one of the pieces that I think is I think might be one of my favorites is Oglor Devoted Assistant, and it is
Oh
a
yes.
now do there's something about it that breaks my heart. Like it is so like I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but I know that he is the devoted assistant, but it's that giant. I feel so bad for the homunculus to start with, but then this poor little guy looks so like spun out, like he's been on like amphetamines for you know a week, and he's tired and he's sad, but he's doing it. What was the pathos? What was the emotion behind that? Like, tell me the story on that one. Just keep telling me stories because I fucking love it. It's
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's go. So this was my very first card. So it's really important to me because
and
my
mythic too.
first, yeah, my first chance to get to work with wizards. And I also get this awesome card because it has a creature. Great. And homunculus are very fascinating to me. And the base of the guideline was that his assistant, so he's just trying his best to connect this wire to the sorry, I don't know the
Thing.
English word. The main,
The Yeah,
yes,
I mean, yeah, that's we could call it a thing because it's like there's something that's otherworldly that's being
yes,
connected to it.
the
Not
thing,
really sure.
and he was trying his best, but his thing is so the wire is so heavy, and is I wrap around it because I wanted to emphasize on the struggle
Oh,
because
that's
it's
it.
trying to carry this thing. It's huge, and I thought if I were to drag a giant um, rope and it's heavy, I just want to kind of wrap it around me so I can carry it better and on my shoulder. But at the same time, it needs to reach it. And it's
Yeah,
sparkling. So it says dangerous electricity coming from the end of it. So it's a scene where his creature is really struggling to. But as a so I find it also cute because it's funny. It's
it's It is, but he's like oh, that's so sad because he's like struggling physically, and he's also like, I don't really want to connect this because I probably am going to be fully electrocuted because I
Yeah,
have it wrapped around my entire tiny little person. And so it
it's
broke
a
my
really
heart. I mean,
dangerous situation. Yes.
it is great. It's a great thing. It broke my heart because that's just like, oh, whoever is his boss is just like the biggest dick because like they know they're like, okay, just go and do this thing that I'm too much of. Like it just makes me think of like mean bosses that just like have you doing terrible jobs. And I got very defensive on his behalf. But so okay, so I'm kind of curious if you could give me an example of say what one of the easiest pieces you've done versus one of the hardest pieces you've done, one of the ones that has challenged you the most out of, and it could be any of the pieces that you've worked on. It doesn't necessarily have to be confined to magic, but I'd be interested to know which one came out simple and which one really you had to fight with to get it to come out.
Okay, that's not an easy question.
You can take your time on that one. It's like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, we
Let
can
me
test things
think.
out.
The easiest. Okay, what's an easy piece? I don't remember having real struggle. Like I was really frustrated with some pieces. Um, I I would say one of the hardest pieces that I had to clean more than the others, and I have to rework a bit, was an unpronounceable one. It was the Pyrexian um, legendary card that has different mana colors. It's not one of the first.
Vexer. It's from Arena. Vexer ik tek hair air
That
there. Okay, I screwed that
that
one up
name.
royally.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
that one.
Now that one, yeah, that's that one is it's glorious. I mean, it's got now you and when you say and what I find fascinating is you say backgrounds are like they're difficult for you, but then and we'll start another question after this because I have them a question about background. But tell me about that piece specifically. What made it a challenge?
Well, first, firstly, it needed to be from different mana colors. So it's a white, green, blue card.
Right,
But Pyrexian has with white alignment. They have also a lot of red.
right,
So I had to combine different elements of the different Pyrexian factions
right.
and to create this creature. So I had to create from scratch. So basically, it's a amalgamation, a combination of this all different Pyrexian. And it was challenging. I had to work a bit of a pose and reference and to combine the elements and the colors most the colors because red, green, blue together. And so it was hard to create an harmony, like colors, color wise. And the background needed to be there's was the need to see a golem behind.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I
yeah. You
had to
see armor.
rework. Yes, I have to rework the background because the golems has I painted the in the they weren't so visible in card size. So if you were to look in the card size, we needed to rework the golems in the background and make it really visible. And I had to rework the background a bit and to clean more and to add details on the Pyrexian. So it was a more challenging because with Magic Card, I find the most difficult thing is to include more than one character. So when you have a crowd, different kind, more than 2 or 3 people, because in card size, you could you could risk to lose them because it's a matter of silhouette and values, and if you don't play with those correctly, you can't really see the difference from one character to another. So I think the most challenging cards are the ones that have multiple characters in it, and we need to understand what they're doing. I don't remember if I have one in my mind right now, but I find that the most difficult are the complex scenes in a small frame, because they need to function in in a big size canvas and in the small size frame. So to answer your question, I think I found it, but it's not just one card. I think those
Yeah.
cards.
And yet, yeah, you seem to be late as of late getting a lot of those assignments, like because you're very good at it, and I think that's the sort of catch-22 is you're like they're very challenging, yet you kick ass at doing them, and so
Thank you.
you're going to get those assignments, I'm sure, because it's like not a lot of people can compact that much action into the the cards themselves. Like for instance, like I'm looking at, let's see here. I think one of the ones that was like that really stands out is Daring Discovery, and another one is Hot Pursuit. Like Hot Pursuit's got so much going on in it, and yet you can see everything very clearly from just the card size. I mean, it's you're using aerial, the aerial angles, and I'm fascinated, and I'm endlessly fascinated by artists who don't use photography, but yet you still have this photographer's eye. Like I wonder, when you watch movies, do you take note of angles when watching movies? Is that something that you notice first? Like when or if you rewatch a movie, let's say, I'm sure you've rewatched Alien, a few times. After I watch a movie a few times, I start to pay attention to like the hidden or the things that are more like the technical side of things. Do you pay attention to that kind of stuff? I mean, or is that just art school education that they teach you how to do these angles? Because I don't think
No,
everybody
honest.
has the ability to do that. They
Yeah.
don't.
Well, it's a relief that you're saying these things, because with these cards, I thought they weren't came out real good, because the angle was hard to do. But the thing is, these I had to with these paintings, for especially with um, the pursuing the painting where one is pursuing three different creatures. What's the name of the card again?
Hot Pursuit?
Hot Pursuit, yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
not only these four creatures need to be uh, very different, but they need to be recognizable, and there's a story behind it. So one is the chaser, and the three are being chased, but they're going three different ways because they're splitting up, as when you trying to avoid getting caught, and you are in a
Right? I
group
know
of
when I'm robbing a bank, I'm like,
yeah. Yes, when you're running away from the police, you just
yes,
split.
exactly. We all know that. We've all run away from
Yeah,
the police with our
it's
fellow criminals.
it's base knowledge. You need to split. So so in this assignment, they were needing to go to different directions. So I needed to paint the detective chasing the three creatures going different directions. And one of the creatures was the chosen of the enchantment, Hot Pursue, which is the red flame that goes and follow just one of those three.
Right.
And I purposely was trying to put emphasis on that character and leave the other two aside a bit, because I was trying to make it readable that that one creature, is the one being target with the spell.
Hmm.
Tough. And honestly, I'm happy that you like it a lot, because I'm not very happy with that card.
Really? Well, I mean, it's so because I mean, and another question, I guess, but within regards to that card, that another, I know that a lot of other Magic artists say the hardest thing to do is creating actual magic itself, like the swirling,
Yeah,
uh,
it
like
is.
because that's like a lighting nightmare, and you're not, because it doesn't. I mean, what are you going to use for reference? We can't just create magic lights and swirls in
Yeah.
real life, and you know, we don't, have like you could. I'm sure you could ask your son to do it, but he'd probably be like, I don't. He'd be like, I
Doesn't
don't
want
know.
to reveal his
Yeah.
creature, his secrets with me. No, doesn't do
Yes.
magic when I'm around.
Yeah. That'd be walk in and you'd be like, oh. But so is that true? Is the magic doing the actual like spell illustration? Is it as difficult as for you as for it is for other people, or do
It
you
is
because
difficult, but it's also fun. So
it is
it's hard, and you have to think about what does the spell do, and the caster, who's the caster? What's his doing? How does it? How does it do it? How does the casting being done? Because, for example, there's another card that I can't talk about. It's a
okay?
card that is a healing effect and
Hmm.
involves nature. So the pose is important, and I try to imagine if the creature were to cast it, how does it feel? What's the emotion? What's it trying to do? Is it something that is useful maybe, or is it something that has no hope of functioning? Um, where it's coming from? It's coming from the hand. Is a magic that is coming from the ground up. So, and if you think of the effect, the emotion of the caster, the movement of the caster, and then you can come out, okay, what's this spell do? The effects that it has, if there is an effect to portray on the subject, or the feeling that it has. I think it's really fun to think about how to paint it. And a useful tips that I received with from Scott Fisher. I was doing a mentorship with Scott, and I was
Good
painting.
guy to good guy to mentor with.
Yes, I was painting a mage. We work on characters, and I was painting a mage, and my mage were casting a sphere of light. It's a spell that I thought he needs to go around dark places. Is a kind of a more of a sorcerer, but is also a hunter. So he needs to go in dark places, finding tracks, finding creatures. So he has a spell that has basically three small lights and is basically a magic torch.
Okay.
But
And,
when I was
and
painting the yes,
just to be clear, is this one that I should cut out of the interview because you can't talk about it, or
no,
is
no,
it because
no.
I'm
This is
okay?
something personal, and it's already a personal
Okay.
piece. No
Okay.
problem at
All right.
all.
Okay.
So
Sorry, didn't mean to.
it's okay. It's no problem. And but I was tired. I was trying to finish this sphere for the spell, and I used a Photoshop brush instead of designing the spell. And Scott saw it, and he told me, "Look, you know how to design things. Don't fall into using too many brushes, because if you design your spell, if you design your magic effect, you're going to be more recognizable, and it's going to be you. Otherwise, you will see different painters with the same brushes and the same magic spell, because you need to put effort into creating your spells."
That's what that is then. I mean, when you see sort of the if you see any homogeny that's happening, it's because people are reliant. If in fantasy art, people, not naming specific names, but people, when you see that, that is what that is, I guess. People using the automatic stuff to get their point across rather than designing. Is that
Yes, I think for me, my personal opinion is that yes, because when you
that makes a lot of sense.
when you lay yourself more too much on the tools, and you real real no relate you use too much of the tools, you
Rely. It's
rely
no, no.
to blur effects, many painting brushes, leaf brushes, smoke brushes, cloud brushes. Then I think they're cool at the beginning, but you might fall into the trap of not designing more your work and not being uh, aware of what you're doing and not put intent in what you're doing and your spell as well. I know that it's more hard and some brushes are really cool, but your risk is to lose yourself among all the people that are using too much of this. So I try
That's
to be
yeah.
more,
Wow.
more painterly and draw and try to figure out solution that involve less of using those tools because it doesn't feel like me anymore.
Do you see yourself moving towards going? I know because with the way the art market is, and as your name is becoming more recognizable, and you're getting more and more cards, are you tempted to go back to go to traditional to try out
Yes,
traditional? Yes, yes.
yes.
Is that something that is currently that you're working on, or are
I
you allowed?
am painting. I'm side painting because with the I entered Magic and the same times my son was born, and
Okay.
so I since me and my partner we're basically splitting with our duties as parents. So we're basically working part time with hourly. We don't work. I don't work all entire day. I work half a day, and she work half a day in a way that we support each other. So um, I don't have that much time to practice at the moment, but it's definitely something that I would love to do, and I'm planning to do it. Also with artist proof, I'm starting to
Oh yeah, big
sketch
time.
some, painting some proofs. Um, it's something that I'm thinking about, and I would love to. I'm going to, I think, present a portfolio with maybe creature magic cards, something to in traditional painting, traditional media, and see if I can get to work traditionally uh, for a personal goal and something I would be happy to do, and also to also counter attack some of the AI shit that is going on at the moment.
Yeah, it's such a it's such a scourge, the AI. I mean, it pisses me off to no end, and I like I always say, these fuckers who get on the internet and they're like, well, it's just it's just giving me the idea, and and I'm like, no, no, it's like you can't call yourself an artist, okay? You can't. You just literally can't do it. It's like I always say it's the equivalent of sticking a microwave pizza in the microwave and saying I'm a four-star chef. It's no, like you can't do that. You have to put the work in. I'm sorry. Like, don't call yourself an artist. I sang a song in the car that doesn't make me a vocalist. Like it's just I don't know what it is about these delusionals, but they are truly delusional. I feel like it's a lot of people who just have no creative energy in their body, or they don't want to put in the work, and they fart out this thing, and it sucks because it makes people question digital artwork
Yeah.
now. It's making people cry wolf on artists who did not use AI. I've seen a few poor magic artists. I mean, there's a few of them who people have been like, this is AI, and the poor artists have to get up and explain, like, no, idiot. Like, here is why it's not AI. And I feel so bad for them because I'm like, it's because of some schmuck who is stealing, and now these real artists who actually worked are being accused by people who have no fucking knowledge of anything. They're just like,
Yeah.
I have an opinion. And the expression, opinions are like assholes, everybody has one. you know
Yeah.
it's yeah, so it's that frustrates me to no end, and it is a good counteract because you can say, all right, yeah, you can think AI, but I'm going to come at you with some, like, traditional stuff. And it's the best
Yeah.
middle finger you can say to AI is,
Yeah.
uh,
You can work traditionally, you can study and apply yourself to get better. And I think I'm doing mentorships now. So, parenthesis, I've been doing a mentorship with Cynthia Sheppard because they're
oh,
awesome. So yeah,
wow.
I've been
That's legendary.
there's a wonderful way to learn to get mentorships because it's nighttime. I can do them. My son is sleeping. It's amazing. Uh, and I've been doing a mentorship with Cynthia Sheppard, and we were talking about this, and she said one of the tools we have it's emotional narrative. So work on your narrative, your knowledge, and your way to communicate emotions towards with the characters, with the ambience, the lights, to put meaning into your piece, and also awareness, because being conscious, you know what you're doing, and you can see that if an artist is able to communicate and give a direction to the piece and because AI cannot do that. Basically, just a
Mhm.
bunch of mishmash, and it's madness, really, because they have. It's I don't know if I. It's a Space Jam, the first movie. You steal the talent, and of course they have powers, but they don't know how to do with it. They're goofy. They don't know what's happening because they're stealing powers. Basically, it's what it is. Because you can
Yeah.
paint superly detailed fingers, but you paint 8 of them. So it
Right.
doesn't
Oh
make
God,
sense.
I love that. I love that. It's just like it's nightmare fuel because it's like this is what a
Yeah,
hand
you
looks
can
like.
paint super detailed belt, but there are 7 buckles overlapping. You can paint uh, clothing, but they're fusing with muscle tissues. It just doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
And
It's
yeah,
madness.
you watch it and you look at it and you're like, why am I disturbed? You're like,
Yeah,
and as an artist, you can point that stuff out, but as an audience member, as a regular person, I'm like, I don't know why I'm grossed out, but I am when I look at
yeah.
AI art. It's like, uh, like I saw this one ripoff of the Jaws 2 poster, which is one of the best. Like, I love this poster. I'm so sad that the artist who painted it said that it was the biggest piece of shit of his career because it breaks my heart because I think that it's the best. Like, I love it. But somebody that's AI ripped it and it's this giant, like, it's, and I'll put it in the video. It's this giant great white shark fin. And the shark is, it has to be swimming in at least maybe 2 feet of water. Like you can see the sand coming up on the beach, and then there's this giant shark fin that's in like this much space of water, and
Yeah.
it's like that's AI for you. Like putting a
Yeah.
great white shark on the shallows of
It
the
has
beach. Like
no consciousness. It's not aware.
no,
It's not doing it on purpose. That's the big difference. We're doing it because we have needs to express. We have some emotion and feelings to communicate. AI doesn't have anything. It's like
no,
also it's bad for reviews because some people say, "Oh, I can use it for me to review my work campaign." No, because in an interview with I believe it was Carla Ortiz, she said that it's terrible for our directors because AI doesn't know how to fix. If you communicate with an AI and say, "Look, would you mind fix that arm? We need to remove that part." It doesn't know how to do it, so it's useless because it cannot respond to. You cannot communicate and fix issues. It doesn't understand what an issue is. It's just so it's pointless. We
right,
personally use
right.
and
Oh wow,
just
yeah,
it
that's
just
fascinating.
flash images. It cannot be
It's I
used properly because an art director cannot work with an AI because it you can go paint me 3 thumbnails and communicate me with this, and it's going to be a bunch of blurs, and then okay, we choose this option, but please adjust, tweak that. It's going to be another things, and they have to spend so much time to make it work, and it doesn't make any sense. It's impossible
yeah,
to use it.
you're gonna spend more time trying to make it work with a friggin'
Yeah,
machine
you can do
than
it
it would.
yourself better.
Right. Getting a person, an actual human to do art. What a novel idea, AI. It's like,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's AI, and AI has uses. It's just not in the arts. Like, I think when it comes to creativity, leave that to the human beings. Like maybe with doing a surgery on a thing where we have robots that are doing things. Yeah, sure, okay,
Perfect.
I'll take AI there. But and I don't think anybody's arguing that point. But with the arts, like, yeah, leave it alone. It's plus it's hard enough to fucking make a living being an artist. I mean, come on. It's every single day. Like there's these nefarious internet trolls trying to just like I mean, I remember, I mean, I did journalism and just whenever I read an AI written like article, I'm like, this is terrible. Like, it's like
Yeah.
so and so was born on this day, and they are known for this. And I'm like, it sounds like a robot reading it. And then now they have robots reading stuff. I'm like, dude, if Audible turns into a bunch of AI, I'm just gonna just like, I
Yeah,
don't know,
because
take a
we like
staff
to
and
hear
shove it in
the
my eye.
yeah
Be like,
generation, the emotion. We don't want to eat a machine doing it.
see, have you ever thought about doing one? I know that some artists have done because they've done a lot of stuff in digital that they're proud of, like doing a one-on-one creation recreation of a piece that you've done, where it's like you repaint an already established card or painting, and you do a replica of it, and you just sell that replica and sign an agreement saying this is going to be the only one that's ever produced. Because I've actually worked with a couple of artists who have done that and sold it, and do pretty well. Have you ever thought about doing that for some of your pieces, or like maybe one of your pieces that you are proud of that already has a following that people are showing interest in?
No, I never thought about that. I didn't know it was a thing. Maybe
It
because
is a thing.
I'm young.
It is
I'm
a thing.
still young in the Wizards community. I think it's 2 or 3 years. I don't remember. So I
Yeah.
can't. It was basically repaint a card that you've painted, but
Yes.
traditionally. So you
Yes.
have it.
Yes, you paint it as though you paint it as though you were handing it into Wizards stuff, and doing an exact replication of what you did for Wizards, and then instead putting it on the market, and all you do is you send an agreement to the person buying it saying, I will never repaint this again. This is a one time only. I'm not going to even scan it and reproduce it in other forms. This is your painting that you will have. If you choose to, take a photo of it and put it online, so be it. But it's sort of like treating it as though the digital never existed and you just did the original. And I've seen people. I personally have been involved with the sale of a piece that went for a good sum, of somebody who had done a card for Magic and then did a repaint of it. And they spent a lot of time on it, and it was, an endeavor. But it seems like it's a good thing to do, I think, because you already have these cards that are getting, the fans are accruing, and you have people telling you things that they like about it, and so you get a chance to sort. I mean, why not? You got to backpack off that fame. You're a Magic artist now. It's like,
Could be nice. Yeah, could be nice.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'd say,
Thank you for the tip, man.
oh yeah.
I've been. I think I need to work on my marketing skills.
Well, I mean, that's, hey, it's, if the information if it comes from me, then so be it. That's why I do these interviews. I mean, because I really do. I believe in the artist. I believe in the art. I think it's endlessly fascinating. And so if this kind of thing can lead to you making a little cheddar down the line and making some fan very happy because they own an original of you, I mean, hey, like,
Thank you. That's a really
like
nice
why
tip.
why not?
Something I
I
need
mean,
to put that and work on my portfolio and traditional stuff.
yeah, it's great because I know some artists have, like, especially some of the older artists are like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. I did it, because they've been in like the game for like 30
Yeah.
years, and they're like, I've done this 150 times. I can't do it again. And and so, like, but then, for the newer artists, especially starting out digital, because I know that when I mean, God, I can't even imagine. You get the call from Wizards, and you have a newborn baby. You must have, like, been so excited, and then at the same time, like, how terrifying the notion is. You got a new human and this giant gig that I'm sure
Yeah.
you've been working for your entire career. Like, what was the feel? I mean, what was I love the story. Like, when you first got contacted by Wizards, what was
Yeah, it
the
was. I was trying to get to Wizards, and I was trying to for many many years. And at a certain point, I was kind of losing hope because Wizard is too much, is too high for me. And then I thought, well, I'm gonna eventually, I'm going to study more and see what's missing. What do I need? And I went to a smart school. You know,
Hmm.
you're familiar with smart school.
I am
So,
familiar. Yes.
and so I decided to get a mentorship and start working on my portfolio cards, especially pointed to wizards. And I studied with Winona Nelson, which is a also
Uh,
great, amazing teacher.
you've worked with some. You've mentored under some. Those are some bomb names you've worked under. Like,
Yeah, I've studied, I've been loving these mentorships. These are amazing. They're, they're
yeah,
they're
some good
wonderful,
teachers.
nice, and I always learn something that blew my mind. I will at a certain point. There's something that came to me. Just man, it was this stuff all along. And they come
Yeah,
back and look at the other piece. Where is the? What am I
yeah. You're
doing?
like, and you're not gonna learn that from AI.
No, exactly. You don't. And so I was taking this class, this mentorship, and when I posted online the first piece of the mentorship, I got contacted by Wizards because one of the art director I've been working with in Fantasy Flight, because it's another chapter of
Right.
cards. I painted Keyforge. I work on Keyforge. I work on Star Wars, and I work with her, with Crystal Chang. I really hope I remember correctly because she's amazing, Crystal Chang, and she passed to Wizard, and she told me that she's been meaning to try to get me to work with Wizard, but the team needs to be approving of your work.
I
So
see. Okay.
until of course you can just go, hey, I have a friend in Wizard, let me
Right.
work.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. There's got to be a consensus.
Yeah. So we worked together. She knew how I was working, but she needed to convince all the team of our director, and you need to produce something that is quality enough, and otherwise it's impossible to do it. And when I posted my first painting for the mentorship, she saw it, show it to Wizards, and I got in before the mentorship ended.
Oh God, that's
So
so
at the
exciting.
time, I was communicating with I wrote to Winona. They got me, and at the end of the class, there were the chance to show your work to a wizard art director. But I was basically already working on my first
That's
assignment, so it's kind
wow.
of an awesome moment.
Wow. Yeah, that's you got to be. I mean, if you're not proud, then when else can you be? I mean, that's awesome. Like that kind of story warms my heart to hear because it's great to hear people saying, "Here's a story about my dream coming true," and then this incredibly awesome thing happened, and then you have a baby at the same time. It's like good. I mean,
Yeah.
like when you're like looking back at like a good year of your life, right? To be like, yeah, that was a
It was
good one.
intense.
Must have been riding
the
high.
first the first 3 year and the second year was a lot because it's sleepless nights, and you're learning to be a parent. Basically, you don't level up as soon as you get to be dad. You you become dad with a new gear and stuff. You're just the
Right.
same person that you were at the beginning.
Right. Yeah, it's your pre-baby and post-baby. It's
Uh,
like there was a person before you had the baby, and then there's a person after you have the baby, and
exactly. So you and
neither the twain shall meet.
and there's a lot of learning and patience to get. And so sleepless night because I wasn't sleeping a lot during the nights. But I think for the first card, there was also a lot of passion because I need to do it good because it's my chance.
But
So
I also
Oglor was
heard I've
my
heard
very
too
first
that
card.
when you have a baby, you get sort of the supercharge, like the dad charge, where all of a sudden you have the kind of energy that you never had before, but because you got a little bit, like you've got a baby there, and all of a sudden I mean, like pulling a sleepless night, you'll do it
Yeah,
as well. Before you're like, oh fuck no, I'm not gonna pull a sleepless night. I'm gonna
yeah.
sleep
It's
in.
not you have some because at first honestly, the first thing that you feel is that this creature needs sustenance. You need to
Yeah,
protect because it's not like when some people says, "Ah, love at first sight." I was in love with this as soon as I saw it. It doesn't happen for me, but for also my girlfriend, which is not what it was at first. It was this creature that needed to be protected and to nourish in some way, so it's need to keep him alive, and it's cute, okay. But then when he started to yes, but when the interaction creates the feelings, the affection. When you start doing things, he grows. We talk to each other. We try to interact, and the more time passes, the more affection you get. But and you it's not you get, but basically it creates the relationship starts to
Yeah.
come to life, and then more affection comes along. But the first days I was trying to figure out how to clean the baby, how to keep him fed. Is he sleeping or is he dying? What is
Yeah. It's so that's terrifying.
Yeah, and also was super protective because there's this stuff that people needs to touch the baby. I don't know if it's in the
Oh.
United States, and people need to watch in the crib, and so it was super protective. What's
Oh
going on?
God. I
Yeah,
mean,
there was a lady. Yeah, we're in the. We were also buying a house at the same time. So it's the
ah,
madness. We were in the lawyer's office, and there's a lady that just take the crib, the stroller, and just move it aside, move it towards her to peek inside. And I grab it and I move it back and I look at
yeah,
her. And she almost look offended, but you fucking crazy. People
yeah,
need to see babies, touch them. People want to just back off. And
yeah.
so the first year, 2 years, no, 2 years, no, but maybe the first year, I was so fucking vigilant because people want to touch the baby for some
I can't
fucking
even.
mad reason.
That blows my mind. I look. I was my sister when she had my niece and nephew. I asked permission before I
Yeah,
touched the baby because
of
it's a
course.
baby. You don't know what's
You
going
don't.
on with the baby.
Yes,
Like, it's
you don't.
developing its immune system for goodness sake. I mean, it's
You don't.
wow.
It's
I can
madness.
just see
Also,
you doing that, like shooting the look at that lady, be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
yeah, because sometimes you don't even know what to say. It sounds really madness. You really want to lean your face inside a baby that you've never seen before and moving the crib away from me? Jesus,
that's
what the
that's
fuck do we have to do now? I just move it
yeah.
back. Look at you like you're a crazy person.
Yeah, it's like, how did you manage to get a job at a desk while being as crazy as that is? I mean,
Yeah,
like,
but you
that's
see,
crib swap, like, in person. Like,
let's see. See, maybe I don't know if it's Italy or it's around the world, but Italy we have this thing with child and baby and mothers. So I have to explain to my family, just don't touch my girlfriend's stomach. Don't touch her
oh
stomach.
God. Oh
You
no, that's
don't
in America too. People, like, they wanna touch the stomach, they're, like, rubbing it
don't
like
do
it's a lucky
fucking
Buddha.
yeah. I have to prepare my family. Don't you dare touch these people because it's madness for me. But that's why
No,
I was so I
can
was
you
so vigilant because I don't know where this is coming from. Because people
right.
want to touch the baby, people want to touch my girlfriend's stomach for some reason.
Yeah, it's like it is kind of a bizarre thing to think about. Like, I'm trying to imagine, like, if I was sitting down at a restaurant or a coffee bar and somebody came up and rubbed my belly, I think my first instinct would be to punch them. Like, I would just be
Yes,
like, like, I don't
and
think
you
I
have
could.
all the rights, but people are
Yeah,
acting
and you.
like you're difficult. Another
Yeah,
lady, we're going in the restaurant, and I thought, perfect. It's lunchtime. It's a restaurant. Everybody has work. There's no people. There was old people. Just I don't want to judge old people, but in my country, uh, the older you are, the less sensitive you are. In my country, I
hmm
don't know, but so I might be too judgmental with this
I don't think it's.
information.
I think you're allowed to be as judgmental as you want when it comes to your own, like, girlfriend and kid. I think that you can. You're like, this is my personal experience, right? It's
Yes, my first experience is these people for a generation that past generation don't have personal space knowledge, especially when it's come
yeah.
to baby. So we're at these restaurants and we're dining. My baby is in this crib near us. This old lady, fucking, without even breaking a step, just look at us and crosses the restaurant, just directly towards us. Just no doubt. No, maybe I'm doing something that I should be doing. Just go towards us. And I fucking stare at her all the way down because I knew she was going to look at mean as possible. Don't touch my baby. So
Oh
apparently
God.
she didn't touch anything. She just stand back, and but all the time she went back to her table, and her husband or wherever it was in front of her, and she was standing like this, looking at my baby all the time.
Oh.
Jesus.
It's
So the first,
predatorial. It's like, I'm
yeah,
sorry, but you look like somebody. Are you trying to like steal the baby? I mean,
what the fuck are you madness? So the
yeah.
first year was me figuring out who the fuck is going to be near my baby. Just, are you? Could you know you don't touch babies?
No, don't
You
touch
ask
anybody. Yeah, and so
permission.
anybody out there who is thinking about touching a baby that is not their own, do not do it. Don't do it. Don't touch a baby. If it unless it's your
Yeah.
baby, no touching. No touching. I get it. I mean, but I
So
mean, maybe
that's my
that's your
first
like,
year in magic. That's my first year in magic.
yeah, wow. So you're dealing with that. Yeah, and I could see you being like all sleep deprived and being like, you're like,
I'm
I don't want
fucking
to have to
painting.
kill an old lady in a
Yeah.
restaurant, but
I
if
paint the
it comes
shit
to
out of
that,
this creature. Yeah.
it's
He's
just be
going
like,
to eat all the old ladies. Gonna touch my son.
be like, why'd you tackle that old lady? I'd be like, oh, several reasons.
Just many
Yeah,
reasons.
because she came up and tried to take my son, and that's pretty weird. Just to think that, yeah, people are weird. People are
Yeah.
very
So
weird.
that was my year. Also, we're buying a house at the same time. So it's just a bit crazy madness. But painting also is very relaxing, and it gets you into your nice world of fantasy and creativity where nobody touches my babies.
Yeah, like if
You
somebody's
create
touching your
creature,
baby in a painting,
yeah,
yeah,
and you
I
paint
like I.
creatures that eat people that touches babies. That's awesome.
It's fascinating. I wonder now, like hearing this story, I'm like, when you got crib swap, it's like I bet, like you must have laughed a little on the inside, thinking like, this is a thing that I had to deal with. Like it's like your nightmare come to life, but yet
Yeah,
you and yet you incorporate this tender moment of you touching the baby, but yet you're having this terrible experience of people trying to rub your girlfriend's belly. It's like that's kind of like
yeah.
it's a little ironic, right? Did you have like a moment where you were like, oh wow, this is sort of like art
I'm
imitating
I,
life a little bit?
I'm realizing it now. At the moment, I was happy to put my son in a magic card.
Yeah, like
It was
yeah, it's
fun
like,
to
but it
play.
is kind of funny. It's like you
Yes, it
put all
is.
your anxiety out into that
Now that you
card.
mention it, yes, maybe yes.
Like
It's
I see that now. I mean, that's because it is
yeah,
such a jarring like piece, and and I think now that must be how you feel if somebody was coming to like the strange hands, like
yeah,
that feeling that we get looking at that card. That's what you were feeling, like your paternal anxiety
yeah,
in the card. I see.
yes.
That's it. That's right there.
That's
Yeah, I'm gonna play psychologist for a minute and say, yeah, I think that's what you were doing. I mean,
yeah. That's an awesome. Yeah, that's a great realization. Now we having a great
yeah.
conversation about this piece.
But yeah, so before I let you go, I want to know, is there anything that you're working on that you can talk about? I know that you've got, I mean, I'm assuming that you've got some stuff coming up for Magic. I know you can mention that you have stuff that you're working on. That's the gist. That's
Yes,
as far as you can go.
yes.
But
I have stuff that I've been working on that I cannot say, but I have stuff that I can
yes.
say. A product that is going to be released soon. It's Bloom Barrow, Bloom
Okay.
Barrow,
Blue
Bloom
Burrow.
Barrow,
Yes, yes.
Bloom Barrow, and I've got a really happy card for me. I cannot say what it is, but it's a really nice moment. And I've been also in Duskmarn.
That
Duskmarn.
one's that's gotta be fun for you. I
Yeah.
can't wait because that one is a return to it's a brand it's a because we've gone to Innistrad, and don't get me wrong, I love me some Innistrad. I love me some Innistrad. But you know, another world where horror is happening, I always welcome
Yes.
because
It
I
was
love
amazing to
horror.
work with with that set, because that came out. I don't want to say easy assignments, because it always a challenging thing to work at cards magic, but it was my cup of tea. It was my
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
It
your
was
it's
the
your
thing that I love
it's
to
your
paint.
comfort zone.
Yeah, but yes, I have fun. I painted creature that, so I think they're cool. I think they're cool. Then some nice moments, and we're looking forward to show them, because I'm happy with those.
I can Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see them. And then like, just some offset stuff. I'm curious. I've been staring at it on the poster board behind you. What is like, it looks like a tiny short little like nun, maybe, like on the background behind you. There's what yes. What is that?
What, that is an exercise. I can even show it to you if
I,
the camera managed to keep to.
I would love to. I would love to see it if it's possible.
Actually, so it's not a nun. It's a. We
Oh,
can show nudity. This podcast
yes, yes, it's not a problem.
interview.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, this is an oil exercise I did a few time ago, with in an atelier of in Florence, with Lucio Parillo was there, and I was practicing oil.
Wow.
That I kind of, I don't know if this
It's picking it
the
up, yeah.
camera can take it very well. It says a color and value exercise.
I loved
Yeah.
I just admire the people who come and sit for those things because it's really it's the only way that I think that you really get to see the true beauty of the human body because people who are in, beauty magazines, they're these bodies that do not exist in nature.
No.
Like you all the steroids and the plastic surgery. I mean, I'm not knocking it. Like, if I had $1 million, sure, I'd be getting some stuff done. Like I'd be prettying up, I'd be cheating, but you get to see the actual beautiful beauty of the human body in those paintings that you guys do. So it's the last bastion of like human beauty, of natural
Yes,
beauty. Like I
because it's
love
a
like,
true.
and she's sitting there relaxed. She's not like,
Yes.
shoulders back, like, the way that people pose, like on the red carpet, like everybody's, like posing like this. And it's like, there's nobody posing like that in nature. Nobody, like, yes,
Yes.
you'll see a panther pose like that, but that's because that's how the panther is. Like, the panther is not posing for the photograph. It just is a panther, So it's
Yeah.
great. And you mentioned that you have this skull behind you, and the skull is something that you're working on that you can or can't talk about.
That one?
Yeah.
No, it's basically a module of for painting. For reference.
Okay, so that's great. So you keep it around to use for just general purpose.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Honestly, I would love to use this guy more, even for studying, but sometimes I can't get the time and I'm tired. But he's really useful for as a skeleton head, of course, as a skull, and for I when I will have more time and my son will be in school next
Hmm.
year. I think I will love to create paintings and study lights and volumes and shadows with this thing. It would be really nice to do it, and I've been meaning to do it.
Did you name it? Did you name the skull?
Honestly, no, but we can
No?
get a name right now.
Yeah, what could we name it? You could name it, I don't know,
We can name
Bleachy.
it. What? What was that?
I was like, Bleachy, because it's a bleach skull. I don't
Bleachy.
know.
Like bleachy is nice. We call it bleachy.
Bleachy the skull. He's a good, because I was, as you were holding it and talking about it, you were like lovingly,
Yeah,
holding. You're like, you're
I
talking
practice
to it.
my bleach because I practice my lovely holding baby skills.
Yeah, you were.
Just
Yeah,
like
there was a great amount of affection towards the skull, and I was like, that's
yes,
beautiful, and in a very like Shakespearean way. It's like very like,
yes. We
oh,
have a lot of conversation in the studio where nobody's around.
It's okay. I talk to my dogs like they're people. Like
Yeah.
and I do talk to my niece and my nephew. That my nephew is 6 months old, and I'll be like, so what are you watching lately on the news? Like what's going on in your world? And he'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, that's a great, excellent point. Tell me more.
Awesome. Yeah.
Well,
Develops the language skills.
yes. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. It's been a blast. I've had so much fun.
It's been awesome. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. It's thank you so much for the interview.